interbeing means basically that on the level of being, we are all connected. We are all influencing each other on a daily basis, from moment to moment. This is in how we share emotions, emotional fields, how we share feelings and fields of feelings, how we project on each other as expectations or a picture. And conscious or subconscious, we try to kind of fulfill whatever picture there is projected on us, and we project outwards how we want to be seen. And often there's this strong kind of message we send outwards also when we look from ourselves. Please see me, see me, see me, how great I am doing. See me, how miserable I am. See me, what I am feeling. And, or see me like this is more the ego. Or see me like this, I want to be seen like this. Or when you look to the ego layer, other people want this from me, so this is what I will show of myself. So this is part of the level of interbeing. There is much more there. To say it very, very simple is that we much more are one as that we think we are. And so on the level of interbeing, to kind of really become aware of how interbeing, or conscious of how interbeing is working, we need kind of to move really to a deeper level of ourselves and start to perceive through emptiness. Emptiness is where we can find unity. When we look into emptiness, so emptiness is not empty. It's full of everything. It's not really empty. But in being full of everything, emptiness is what's connecting everything, what's through everything, what's the connecting field, you could say, or the connecting energy, or like when you look in the universe, you know, you have separate stars and black holes and galaxies. But the empty space is connecting everything, is holding everything. And the stars are happenings, in a way. As the black holes are happenings. Galaxies are happenings, something is happening there. So when you move into emptiness, which is connecting everything, emptiness is full of everything except of a separate self. And again, the separate self, the I we have, which is so incredibly precious to us. This I which defines us. And again, when we look at this I, this is not a stable thing. This I is changing all the time. Basically, how we treat the I is that we adjust our I, what we think our I is, into what we want to be, what we should be. And at the same time, and the I is incredibly important in us. This separate self is important for us. It's important in a way that through this separate self we are able to give a unique form to ourselves in the world, according to our qualities. And we have a unique perspective on the world. If we look at the level of interbeing, how we influence each other from moment to moment, then there is a responsibility there. There is a responsibility in the atmosphere you're adding towards the collective. There is a responsibility in the attitude towards the collective. As much as when we move into the separate I, there is a responsibility kind of to really become an adult individual, an adult I, is a movement, what you could say, and this is the strange thing, out of interbeing. But in the movement out of interbeing, there is a much deeper movement inside interbeing at the same time, in a different way. So the movement out of interbeing, out of the collective, is basically coming forward as something which I see is really, really important, which is called by my teacher, Robert Moore, spiritual discernment.
Spiritual
discernment.
Discernment.
And what he meant by spiritual discernment, as far as I understood it, is that you can distinguish what is yours and what is of another. So in the whole field of interbeing, if somebody gets angry, so often what's happening is that we kind of just move with the anger. It's not clear if it's really ours or the anger of somebody else. When this is happening on the level of love, we don't mind so much, because everybody loves to be in a loving atmosphere. But when it's with things we struggle with, we mind. We mind, whose fault it is, who to blame. There's an angry atmosphere, anger is coming forward, that's because of you. He started. It's his fault. So he should deal with the anger. But the moment anger is touching us, it also becomes our anger. And this is also in the field of interbeing. The individual responsibility which is there is to deal with this anger, not to dump it. And why not dump it? Because it's easy. You feel some fear, you dump it on somebody else. You feel some anger, you dump it on somebody else. Why not? You blame. It's because of my mother, it's because of the teacher, it's because of the neighbor, it's because of Israelis.
That's for sure.
If you want to become somebody, it's a very good position to be in the position of because of. You exist. It's because of you.
Because it came from you.
Because it came from you. Or not, it's just projected that it came from you.
Yeah.
So then again, when we look into this whole field between the separate I, the individual, and interbeing, what you see, there's a whole play field there. So to become an individual means that you're able to take responsibility for your own feelings, emotions, and thoughts. But then, in taking responsibility, it's another way of becoming aware how few feelings are really your own. It's a shared field you're part of. So there's like two truths. Truth is at the same time. And it's really connected with perspective. And these two kind of realities which are there at the same time, which are connected with perspective, is that one, there is this interbeing in which we kind of, move and are moved. We are all influenced by the atmosphere around ourselves. We're influenced by the culture we're living in. We're influenced by the atmosphere in the city, in the family, in the country, in the world, if we like it or not, on all levels. And at the same time, we have the ability to separately make of it what we feel is most beneficial. We don't need to drown in it. We can take an individual point of view, an individual belief, an individual structure, how to move with what is collective. As an example, right now, what you see in Europe is that on the level of economics, it's not going very well. So there is a lot of economical fear. And you can collectively move with the economical fear, and it means that you're kind of worried about money all the time. The amount of money you have is not that important in this. Because the more you have, the more you can lose. And the less you have, the more you're worried that there will be not enough. And again, enough for a millionaire is a different amount as enough for somebody who has a very moderate income. So there is kind of a general worry. And of course everybody wants to be the millionaire, because then you have more as enough. But that doesn't work like this when you're kind of in this whole field. So of course what you see is people move in a certain way with it. With fear, how they spend money, how they give to others. It has an influence. It's where they look at. Look, all these foreigners, they have jobs here. They're earning all our money. Our money. You get a polarization. And this is collective. And of course, you can kind of take an individual stand in this. And this individual stand you take is partly connected with what you believe in. What you feel in the depth is right. And this is all part of your individuality. How you feel that you can move through the world and look in the mirror at the same time. So, when I talk about this, the difficulty is that on one side there is this collective thing is really, really true. It's happening. And it's not bad. It's just a fact. It's how it moves. But at the same time, the individual is as important. So we have this whole interplay between collective and individual. So part of the spiritual waking up is becoming aware of the role of the collective and the role of the individual. When we move too much into the individual, what gets lost is the understanding of interdependency. We're basically all dependent on each other. It's not that we're all islands. We need each other. We're not different from a tree or a bug living on the tree or a bird. We are part of nature right now. We're part of the whole. We're dependent on food. We're dependent on the atmosphere we live in. It has a big influence. We are dependent on nature. So, part of the human quest, to say it like this, is to find the right form, or maybe the middle way, between being an individual, having individual freedom to make your own choices, to move in your own way. And the collective interdependency. How do we give form to this? Examples of this are society, family structures, politics, democracy. Is a form in which we kind of, try to look at the needs of the individual and the interdependency which is there at the same time. And when we look to the development right now in the world, in the area of democracy or other forms of ruling a country, what you see, it's nowhere perfect. We're still learning together to find a form which we feel is beneficial the most for everybody, as much as possible for everybody. So the more we move into the collective, the less trust there seems to be in the individual taking responsibility. And based on this, there is a very strong thought that freedom, also collective freedom, starts with the individual taking responsibility. The individual taking responsibility for himself and for the collective. And then often what you hear when you bring this forward, why should I take responsibility? Nobody is taking responsibility. Everybody is basically abusing the state or is abusing the collective funds which are there. Why would I take responsibility? Why would I pay taxes? Which is a part of taking responsibility. Why would I pick up the waste from the street? Everybody is throwing it away. Nobody does it. And then, of course, you could bring forward, if you do this, there's a possibility that the world becomes more easy to live in. If you care about your environment, if you care about others, as you care about yourself, the world becomes a little bit more safe for everybody. When we're in an environment where we have a feeling that this environment is taking care of us or cares about us, it makes it more safe. We can relax more, we can be more ourselves. Although this whole field of interbeing, how we influence each other, in the atmosphere we build as humanity, as how we are dependent on each other, is so much bigger as we are. At the same time, this whole field is also a responsibility of each of us. Each little part of this big field of interbeing can make a change. Can make a difference. Each positive reaching out, each sign of care, each sharing of happiness, which is an overflowing cup anyhow, or love, or trust, makes a difference. It's absolutely not that we have to be perfect and that we should be free of all emotional hooks or hooks in our thoughts, or have to be the highest, have to have the highest beliefs. It's a matter of attitude. Nowadays, and then I will stop talking, you see a lot of people being interested in the whole movement of inner growth. And inner growth becomes more and more popular. And then what you so often see in this movement of inner growth is that people want to reach something. They want kind of to reach awakening, enlightenment. And all what people want to reach is based on themselves. It's like the same as becoming the millionaire. And then when you think you became the millionaire, maybe there is a passion to make other people's millionaire as well. But still, you know, the walls around your house are very high. There is a kind of defensiveness about what is perceived as the individual truth.
There's a defensiveness?
About what is perceived as the individual truth. This is the truth. This is how it is. This is the only truth. And again, what you see in this is all in polarity. In polarity with the other, with the outsider. So this, in my eyes, doesn't bring any change. Neither to the individual nor to the other. Whatever experience you have, it's not exclusive. If there is a real experience to the depth, it's always inclusive. A real experience is opening up to the whole. It's not excluding anybody. And then again, when you look to a real experience to the depth, you are aware that this is an experience, a form which is coming forward. It's not what you are. It's just an experience. What defines you much more is your attitude as an individual, not whatever experience you have. When we talk about form, when we talk about individuality, when we talk about the form we take in life, what defines you more as anything is your attitude. Not how many traumas you have. Not how hurt you are. Not how difficult life has been for you. But your attitude towards life, your attitude towards yourself, and your attitude towards the people around you. So when we talk about attitude, our beliefs are playing a major role. Our beliefs are giving structure to our daily life form, which is not stable. Beliefs are changing all the time, if we've got some freedom of mind. And in the meditation, I like to do some self-inquiry around our beliefs. So we start by connecting to the ID. And then I like you from the ID to move down with a golden light, to surround yourself totally with a golden light. So you're totally surrounded with gold. And then I like you to connect with the center of your head. Center of your head is just inside, in the middle of your head. And there you can connect with silence, if you like, or stillness, or emptiness. Or with whatever which comes forward in this area. And then I like you to take a situation from your life. In your life, we all kind of went through such situations in which you had a feeling that this really had an impact on your beliefs. This can be a shock, or this can be something which was a revelation, that at once you thought that things were different as you believed to be. But something which had an impact on your beliefs. And I just want you to witness it, to look at it. What happened exactly? What happened then? So after kind of witnessing it, looking at it from different sides maybe, we let ourselves drop down, we make a slow movement towards the heart. And again, you can take some time to connect in the heart. With silence, stillness, emptiness, peacefulness, whatever comes forward in the heart. Maybe love. Sadness, whatever is there. And then I like you to kind of move back to the same situation. This kind of revelation, shock came forward, which had an influence on your beliefs. Then I like you to look at, how did you react in this situation? Did you react according to how you wanted it to be, or how you wanted it to change? Or did you react according to what you felt in the depth, what you needed? Or what was needed in this situation? You understand the difference?
You want us to go back to the situation now.
In the heart.
Right.
Yeah. And then you look to your reaction. There has been this shock or revelation, and you moved with it. You moved on. Life moved on after that. And the next moment, life maybe moved on.
Right.
So when you look to it, how did you move from this point?
Or you want us to look back at the past and how we
Yes.
do it. So, okay.
How did you move from this? Or it can be in the present even. It can have an influence on the present. And I want you to look at it on the level of wants and needs. So sometimes we get a shock, which is really something shocking for me, and we don't want to show anybody what's going on. We want to reveal it. We split. This is a want. And so if this we did as a want, I don't want everybody to see it. It's in the language. I don't want. Or I do want. Then if we move a little bit more deeply, we can see sometimes that what we needed in that situation, or what was needed for another in the situation, or what maybe was generally needed in the situation is something else. So I want you to kind of to distinguish between wants and needs. So sometimes you get a shock and we don't want anybody to see it. But what we need is really to be seen in how we are shocked. You understand that's a difference. Or we get a revelation and we want everybody to tell about it. So maybe we need something different. So after that I like us to drop down to the pelvic. And again, you can connect with silence, stillness, emptiness, whatever is in the pelvic. And then we take the same situation, we take the situation you took according to the shock in your beliefs. What happened, the wants and the needs, the distinguishing. Then I like you to look at what kind of form did this shock take inside my life? How did it form me? Or this revelation, or this kind of, thing that shocked my beliefs. What was the influence on the form I'm taking in my life? How does it influence my attitude? And I like you to, after that, to move down to the feet, into the ground. And try to connect there with light and make a slow movement with light upwards back to the ID. And then there will be some music.